All right, so we're live. I figure we'll do, what we'll do, Randy, is we'll do a little pre-show banter because nobody's on yet, right?
Okay, let's do it.
So we'll do a little pre-show banter. We'll talk.
Awesome.
We're live, but we're in the green room right now.
Perfect.
So it's like it's like we came from the green room, but this is like maybe the purple room because
The
it's not
purple room.
right. It's not the green room. I mean, we weren't live when we were in the green room.
Would that be
Now we're
turquoise?
live.
Maybe that might be.
What's
Would that
that?
be turquoise? Would that be turquoise? The turquoise room?
Turquoise, yeah, maybe the turquoise room. I like the sound of that. So we're in the
Yeah, yeah.
turquoise room because, and the reason is because I record this as a podcast. So this is a podcast we put out. So I do all my podcast recordings. I just do them live, which is why I'm not so concerned with the necessarily the audience size of the live because we turn that into really the
Right.
goal is to record the podcast. So
Right.
you
Right
are.
on.
You are my guest today. We'll kind of, I'll do the podcast intro in a moment, but for now we're still in the turquoise room.
Perfect. I like the turquoise room.
So how's the weather? Let's talk about the weather. How's the
Okay.
weather in Naples?
It's getting better today. We had winter for 2 days. It was like 65, which kind of
Oh,
sucked.
you
I
poor
know.
guy.
I know. I used to do that a lot with my kids when we first moved down. They're all back up north. And eventually it was like, Pops, okay, really just please shut up. I don't want to hear that anymore. But no, it's going to be back in the mid 70s and high 70s for the rest of the next 10, 15 days again. It's just we had a little front come through, but it's nice. It's sunny. When I get done with this, probably change into my walking clothes and go out and I might do a couple videos I need to do first in here, and then that's why I got stuff set up in the background. And probably go do a walk, and I usually do a walk and talk sometimes, and throw something out that I'm thinking about or it's in my head.
Yeah, and I love it. I love that you're doing that. So we'll talk more about that. I'm going to do start the podcast now, and give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to the Elevating IT podcast. My name is Mike Brooks, and I'm here with my new friend, Randy Chaffee, who was recommended from my old friend, Eric Bam. So now you're going to become my old friend.
Perfect. I like that.
Welcome to the show, Randy. Thanks for being here. And Randy, you're from mid-Michigan originally. You grew up on a farm. I found that to be very interesting. I have my notes here. Took some notes.
Yeah.
You currently live in Naples, Florida. You've been having a cold streak of 65 degrees, as you were just saying. And you are you own your own company, and it is called Source One Marketing LLC. But if folks want to learn more about Randy, they can go to this link, ibuyfromrandy.com, and I'll put that back up there a little later in the show if you're watching live. So tell me about, I mean, you've it looks like from my research on you here from LinkedIn that you've been really Source One Marketing is really what you've been doing almost your whole career, but you've been selling your whole career. So fill in the blanks for me.
Yeah, it really started. The current stance I've been doing for about 32, 34 years. I'd have to go back and look, but after so many years, it doesn't matter anymore, right? But I started out, as you said, grew up on a farm, and I started out with my dad and did the farm thing, and then he had a farm business, and I did some. Then he had a construction business, and I did all that kind of stuff, and figured out that selling was more fun than being out in the 100-degree heat or the 100 below zero. It seemed like construction thing. Maybe I'm lazy or maybe I'm smart. I don't know which, but I just thought selling this stuff and let somebody else build it was a little more fun to me. So I did that for a number of years. That was mostly selling to buildings and building component materials, to farmers really. And then I spent about 7 years, I think it was, as a purchasing agent / product manager for a lumber chain, buying a lot of the same types of products I'm involved with today. So either I'm just really smart and stayed within the realm of what I knew, or I'm just too dumb to get out of it. I'm not sure which I was, but I realized that I got no juice out of being a purchasing agent. And I love purchasing agents because I sell them all day long. It just, for me, I like to be on the road. I like building relationships. I just like selling, or as I call it, as I learn, and we may talk about this later, but I I call it more helping people get what they want or need, because I don't really like the term salesman or sales rep, if you will, only because I don't really think that's what I do. I sell a lot, right? I think I do fairly well, but I don't really sell anybody anything. You know, I assist them to buy, and that's it's a mindset thing, but I think it's huge. It's huge to me.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
yeah, so I've been doing this so yeah, I've been doing this under the current thing, the current Source One marketing deal for a lot of years now, and I get people asked once in a while because I'm sort of old, not really old. I don't feel that old, but you can guess if I've been doing this for close to 40 some years in one shape or another, you can kind of guess that I'm not 40. But what do I have a stop date? Oh hell no. I don't even. That's not even in my vocabulary, because I just get up every day and love what I do. You know, you have moments, right? But I love what I do, so why would I stop, right?
Yeah, I can tell. And I watch your walking videos.
Yeah.
You're out for a walk and motivating me to keep going out and going for a walk. And I've done that before. I used to do that. I used to do that more. I used to do those walking videos like you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. You're out going for a walk and you're staying in good shape. And that's like my time. I know for me, it's my time to plug in and listen to a podcast or listen to
Mm-hmm.
a book on tape. And I almost always end up getting motivated to write something, and I'll be walking around my neighborhood with Evernote, jotting down the next blog post. And I
Sure.
transitioned it from doing live videos. Like I used to just, film it. I used to just film whatever I was thinking. And then now I walk around typing a blog post. I've walked in people's yards because I'm not paying attention, find myself in the
Oh,
middle of the
yeah.
road.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how many times when I walk around my community here, it's kind of a walking community, a lot of bridges over the water, and it's nice. But I don't know how many times I'll get startled because, oh, excuse me, because I'm
Right.
looking, right,
Walk
I'm
right into
typing and
somebody.
almost walk into somebody. But I do a lot of I find the walking thing, one, is good for you. I try to get in minimum of 6 or 7 and sometimes 10, 12 miles a day, what I shoot for.
Wow.
But I don't I wouldn't say it's a waste of time to walk, because just going to walk is good. I find that it's great time for me to talk to customers. It's a great time for me to do some walk and talk videos, which I enjoy to do. And sometimes things pop in my head. I've been starting to do one now a couple times a week. As I take a song, I listen to music on my Spotify, right? And I don't listen to music well. I never have. I don't hear the words. I hear the music. I hear the tone. I hear maybe one or two words, and the artist always get it wrong. Number one, which really irritates me because everything I sing is not how they sing it, and I think I'm right and they're wrong. But so I finally thought, you know what, I need to listen to music more. And so what I started doing with that, which is kind of fun, is a song that I like, then I punch it up and I look at the true lyrics and try to figure out what did the artist mean or what do I take from it, and then do a short little minute and a half little Randy's thought on that.
I love it.
So I do a lot of those kind of things, and then sometimes I just, because I'm the big thing I'm doing right now, Mike, is really been transitioning myself the last several months from just, I was hardcore road warrior. I mean, that was my life.
Yeah.
Hotels, rental cars, airports, airplane, dinner, lunches, breakfast with customers. Still love it. Still love to do it. But I'm really trying over these last few months to become way more virtual and
Mhm.
spend more time doing these kind of things. And what I was just going to say is, when I'm walking many times, I'll just, if I haven't talked to a customer in a while, I might, hey, just shoot a quick video. It might be, hey, Mike, Randy, what's up? How's life? Hope the kids are good. Blah blah blah. It might be something. I do. I'm a little quirky. So I sat one night or one afternoon, because my wife's a Dixie chick, as I call her, because her name's Dixie, and she's a chick, so that fits. She runs my office too. She's my business manager for my agency, my rep agency. So I went to a local little pub. This one was still back in Michigan before we came back to Naples. And so I used going to get takeout as an excuse that we had a little game between us, because she pretends to ignore and I pretend that I didn't order a glass of Cabernet while I'm ordering lunch, right? And so this just popped in my head. And this is just the weird stuff I do. And it probably makes no sense, but I got a good customer of mine out in Montana. And I just set the wine glass down in front of me and reached out and clicked the video and just never said a word. Picture of me and a wine glass, took a drink, did like a cheers, and then did that. I didn't say it, just I love you.
That's cool.
Click, send it to him, right? Just those kind of things as I talk to guys that maybe, I don't know why I get into this. I love this whole virtual thing because there's an augmentation, not an instead of, because my business, my industry, Mike, is still, guys need to see me. They want to shake hands. They want a bro hug. They want to go grab some, some pizza or go grab a beer after work. That's still, but I can't do as much of that, right? So
Right.
How do I be more there? How to be more present? And so little things like that. And that guy that I did, he's a young kid. He's 30 something. And I've known him, worked with him forever. He's a good friend and a good customer. And he sent me a text like 10 minutes later, he said, dude, you still don't know how cool that was. He did. So those things are just fun, and it amuses me. Sometimes I do stuff just because it amuses me, And,
that's really cool. I love that. And you transitioned, and I know I've heard you and other people talk about your Randy 2.5 or 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Randy 2.0, and then now it's Randy 2.5.
Well, it's 2.5, Mike, because and we talked about before we got on in the green room, or we might have transitioned to the turquoise room, but somebody we both follow, and I follow for life, is Jeffrey Gitomer, right? And I've read every book he's had, and he always does he might have 10 things, right? And then he's always got 10.5, right? That's just kind of his little thing.
Gotcha.
And so I thought, not 2.0, I'm going to do 2.5. And maybe if 2021's I really get my crap together, I might bump up to 3.0. But I kind of coined a phrase for myself, Randy 2.5 hybrid amazing, because I want to be amazing. And it is a hybrid program that I'm trying to develop to go from how do I not do, if that makes sense, the road warrior thing when I can and when I need to, because I love it, I want it, and it has to happen in my industry. But how do I, when I'm here in my office, wherever it is, here, north or south, how do I be in touch with my customer on a very regular basis? And so I've taught myself through some help of a lot of videos, a lot of watching people like Jeffrey Gitomer, being involved with a mastermind group that you had Eric Bam on that really kind of founded that thing. I think last week or the week before, a good friend of mine, the Mega Mind, which is a mastermind group, which I just learned so much about how to, because as we kind of talked pre-show, I'm just an old dude that does it my way. I mean, that's the way I used to be. But I grasped somehow, don't know why, this whole thing just makes sense to me. It just makes sense to me. And I'm a believer that people that wait to, and I hear it all the time, I just can't wait. I can't wait till we go back to the old way. You got a long wait, dude, because we're not
it's not going to go back to the old way very quickly. Well, let me unpack that a little bit, because that's a great, you are older than I am, and I am an old dude.
Thanks.
You're a little bit older than me, so I'm not a young dude. I kind of grew up with this. I didn't grow up with this technology like my daughter did. I mean, my daughter was born with a mobile phone in her hand.
Right.
I was in my 20s when the internet was just starting to kind of take. I was a little bit ahead of the curve with technology, but not much. As we've gotten older, I think it's hard for people our age to sometimes embrace this stuff. I spent a lot of years as a marketing agency really coaxing people to get on the internet, coaxing people to turn on a camera. And it was hard 10 years ago. It is still hard today. And you've made that transition pretty easily, I think, or maybe it was hard, but it seems like it was an easy transition for you. I'd like you to talk a little bit about like your mindset. Did you overcome some obstacles to doing that? You seem like you're an extrovert, right? Maybe you're not, but you seem like you're an extrovert.
Yeah. And it's funny because I am, and I realize that I drive myself crazy at times, and I drive the Dixie chick crazy. But I said, what do you think? You can get away from me. I can't. So, it is what it is. So I've learned to grasp my extrovertism. Does that make sense? I make up
Yep.
words too. I make up words. And,
I love it.
but, so the biggest thing, I don't know why necessarily. Well, I can tell you what happened. March 17th was the date. COVID thing was happening, right?
Right.
I was at a sales meeting in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was a question whether we should have it or not, but a bunch of us guys wanted to have it because there's things we wanted to go over. One of my manufacturers is in Tulsa. And so we did it and left. I get to the airport and there's nobody there. The TV screens, or these big TV screens, are screaming the world's ending, right? It's over. I rented cars from Tulsa to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta to Fort Myers, so I fly in and out of, so I could cancel on the flight once I got above 10,000 feet in case I couldn't get home. That's how much I was going. I don't know what's going on, but this world is ending a little bit right now. So I started making notes in my iPad. Airport, on the plane, airport, on the plane. And I didn't know what the answer was, but I said, somehow I got to figure this out because something's going to be different. I just felt it. And so I didn't know what I was doing. But then I started listening to some podcasts. I listened to every video I could find and I started going, this makes sense. Mm-hmm. I can set, and I started doing some stuff. And for guys that are afraid of it, back to kind of your question, I think, it was scary the first time the first time I did a video, I did 37 takes. I mean, it would have been great for one of those like TV guys do, where they got all those off takes or where they made mistakes and all that. I mean, I did like 32 of them. I suck. And the first time I did it live, it's like, I think I had to go through 3 shirts before I was ready to get on because I was sweating. I was just nervous about doing these sort of things, right? Now I can sit and do these all day. But it's like with anything, from the leap from first to second is the largest leap I think you'll ever make. Because it's so much easier, even after the second one you do, the first video. So if you're gonna do a video and you want to be in virtual, just make the damn video. And what I learned is make the video, unless you really screw up, make it, don't look at it and send it. Yeah. Because what people are looking at, I think, Mike, and I'd be interested in your opinion on this, but people are looking for raw and organic, right? They're looking for Randy, right? The same Randy that you would see if I walked in the door. Because what you get here is what you get if I walked in your door today. I'd say what I say, and I do what I do. And so I think you need to bring that same thing to the video. So, and now what I have to work on is as I said, I got some things set up behind me here because I'm going to do some other product videos and a few other things throughout the day. I struggle more with doing product videos and taping them, if you will, because I go back, I'm old. I saw it taping. It's not taping, but
I call it that too.
I know. Because all of a sudden I feel like I'm an actor now. If I'm taping, and I'm waiting for the director to say, and go. And I go, it's got to be perfect. And I have a hard time where, for some reason, it's just the opposite. I know a lot of people are more comfortable doing that. They're not comfortable on live. But I like the interaction with you. I like the interaction that I know we're talking to some people and more people will be listening. For some reason, that's easier for me. I'm just talking to this stupid camera. I feel like and plus I realize with product, I feel like it's got to be a little more professional, but it really doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Right? The customer
it's in our heads, right? Like those things,
is.
You're doing the same thing I do. And I don't think you ever get over that. The last podcast I did last week on Friday with my friend John Fazio is like the worst podcast recording I've done in probably 3 years. It was terrible. Right. I shouldn't have done it. It was the Thursday after the Friday after Thanksgiving. I was probably still hungover from either eating too much or drinking too much. And I just wasn't feeling it, and I was like, I'm watching myself. And this is, I think, the worst thing that you can do if you create content is go back and watch yourself. I was watching myself. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And exactly. I'm almost like, I don't even want to tell people to go listen to that. It's almost like the people should listen to it to hear how terrible I am. But who cares? And Eric will appreciate this. I'm going to post a couple comments Eric made here. He's Eric Bam, who was a guest on the show a couple of weeks ago. Randy 2.5, highly amazing. And Randy says, Eric says, Randy is a great example of a person who has totally adapted, adjusted, recreated himself while still building relationships via audio and video. He's an amazing man.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, it's you just have to get out there and do this stuff, and you're doing that. You're not over analyzing it, and when you do, you get stuck on that. And I think going back to what prompted me to go off on this monologue here and hijack the conversation.
Oh,
Randy,
no, good.
You said the magic thing, right? Like here you're a person who's doing amazing content. You're out there every day creating new stuff. You're not afraid to throw it out there. You're doing some kind of really neat things from a sales perspective, like recording videos just for a person, right? And texting it. You can do that through LinkedIn now, right? So we can do video and text message the video to people on LinkedIn. Such a powerful way to communicate with people under the radar. Nobody's doing it. Everybody should get out there and do it, but do it right. And even a person like you who's been doing this for a while now, you've made your transition. You're kind of expert status at this, but you even still are like, well, if I do a product video, I feel like, so you're apprehensive to do that, right? Like, so bottom line, I think we get in our own heads, right?
Oh, you do. And the biggest key, two things I've learned, what you just said, Mike, which I think makes a lot of sense, is you get in your own head, just get out of the way. And sometimes I found, so I've been kicking around doing my own weekly show like this. And I know I want to, I know I'm ready to, I know that it makes some sense, but there's that apprehension a little bit. And so I finally just had to get with the guy that's going to produce my show and just say, we're doing it. Here's the date. You just got to, I call it the step off the 80, you got to jump off the 84 floor and learn to fly on the way down, right?
Yeah, you do.
I mean, you kind of ought to think you know how to fly, but it's like, I think these wings will work. I've tried them. I jumped off the clothesline and it worked. At some point, the Wright brothers had to try to fly.
You have to make that leap.
Yeah. Alan Shepard, I think it was the first one that went up in the capsule, right? He had to get on that stupid rocket and hope like it worked, right?
Imagine that.
So, I mean, so sometimes you just got to do it. And I think that the other thing that I've found, and this makes a lot of sense to me, is, and I heard this somewhere, I'd like to claim it. If nobody does after like 10 hours, I'm going to claim it for myself. So done is better than perfect. See, we all strive for this perfection, which never happens. There is no such thing as perfection, right? I don't care if you got a movie set in Hollywood and you can do 17,000 takes and it's still not going to be perfect, probably, right? There's probably some little thing if experts went back and looked at it, right? Done is better than perfect. If it's okay and it's good, it's better to get it out and get on to the next thing, as opposed to spending days. I can't spend hours doing a stupid product video because I need to get to the next one.
Right.
Oh,
Eric looks like Eric's going to steal that. He's claiming that. What you just said something really profound, and he's claiming it.
Yes, he's claiming it. Done.
And he also reminded me of my last thought. Social media is a moving parade. That was what I was getting at when I went off the rails a little bit. This is, I think, like my own issue is sometimes when like maybe my brain's getting too old, I can't keep my thoughts straight. So
there's so much in it, Mike.
Yeah, well, it's not staying in it. When I was talking about that, I had 2 points. I want to go back to that point that I was trying to make on my interview last week with John Fazio. I was ashamed of my performance. I was watching the video and I was really ashamed of my performance. And the 1 point I did make is that you can't go back and overanalyze yourself. As soon as you start watching your takes, right? Like you're going to be like, I can't do it. And then you start overthinking it and you throw it out. The truth of it is, and this was this point I forgot to make that Eric just reminded me of, is that social media and just everybody's attention is a moving parade. It's here and gone, right? So yes, that podcast was last week and somebody may listen to it and they probably won't think it's as bad as I think it is. I was bad. John was great. My guest always saves me. But it's people's attention, they just, it's another impression. People are seeing you and they're on to the next thing. Right?
Well, they are. They are. And it's almost, let me think about this. This makes sense or not, but it's almost the opposite of the hook point. I don't know if you've seen that book out there, but there's a book, if I'd say the guy's name, but I can't think of it right now, that I've been reading. And it all talks about, you got about with videos on social media at about 2 to 3 seconds max to
Right.
hook them to even decide if they want to click or not, right? Because you're going through miles. The average person is flipping through miles of stuff, right? So with that said, to what you just alluded to, we worry about it, but believe me, I understand now that I'm not so important that they're not going to forget me, whether I got on and was an idiot or not. I mean, they're way into 17,000 other views of other crap before they're going to remember me again. So all they're going to remember is the next one, because we're all become very short-minded today, right? And even more so, I think, with virtual. I can really be done the worst video in life yesterday, and if I do 2 more pretty good ones today, that's the only thing they're going to remember. Right. They're just, because there's been 86 billion views of crap they've looked at, right? Between now and then, they don't even remember they did one yesterday, let alone that I screwed it up. So I think if we get out of our own way with that, in a brief thing with that, I had a buddy of mine, and I convinced him he should use LinkedIn to, he's looking for a job, new job. And I told him, you got to do a video of these people. Send him a video, minute and a half, introduce yourself. Finally did it, and he sent me one to look at, right, to make sure that I thought it was okay. The other thing he noticed that he didn't like, and I've done this before, he had the camera a little low. I tend to do that when I walk. Right. And he goes, I think it's, he's down, and he goes, maybe, but I told him, I said, the video is awesome, spot on. He said, I said, but yes, I agree, next time you do one. He goes, well, maybe I should redo this. I said, no,
be real.
No, because if you redo it, you'll screw it up. You'll never do it as well. So just done is better than perfect, right? It's you. It's what you said. How you conducted yourself was perfect. Forget that. Just next time, fix it, right? So
right. And you're just yourself, and you do that. You're just you, the way you are. And that's, I think, sometimes that people get in their own heads about doing video is that I think a way to break through that and stop overthinking it for people. And I know I did this is, it's no different than me being in front of you. Like, why would I be afraid to walk in a room and meet with a person and talk to a person or a group of people? I wouldn't, right? Like, I'm not gonna not go and over there and talk to this person, or I make a sales appointment with you and I walk in your door and introduce myself. I'm not gonna not do that because I'm afraid to talk to people. The same thing with video. That's all it is, right? It's all
just talking. Yeah, raw and organic. Right? Just talking to you. Just. I said the other day on something I was doing, I was talking about that, and I think I might have mentioned briefly earlier, but I try to dress the way I would dress. Typically, it's winter in the north. I would have this kind of an agency shirt on or something, or maybe a polo with a logo or one of my manufacturing, whatever. I'm going to dress the way I want you to see me here, as if I was walking in next week, Mike, and first time we met. I want you to recognize, oh, that's Randy when I got out of the car. Right. And then when I walk in and introduce myself, there should be no doubt that it's Randy, because if we've had 2 or 3 conversations via Zoom or Teams or whatever, you've watched 2 or 3 of my videos prior to my coming in, there should be zero doubt. I should be no different standing, like you just said. I think it's a great point. Sitting here, hey, Kellen, sitting here or in your office, it's the same, right? And I think that's huge. I think that's a mistake. I made it at the early on, probably still do sometimes because I'm no professional, but you make a mistake if you try to be an actor or whatever you think you need to be, right? Just be Mike, be Randy, be Eric, be Kellen, right? Just, it's me. I say dumb stuff, and I say English. My English is screwed up at times. I mean, I say English is my second language because it's my mid-Michigan farmer boy, hillbilly, small town stuff. And then I combine them, I get south with so I got this weird thing because growing up in Michigan, closer to Canada and closer to the UP sometimes, I occasionally have that little bit of you want to run this down, And then I combine that when I get back into the South, even though Florida is not really the South because it's an odd state. I don't know how much time you spent here, but nobody's from here. There's 22 million of us, and nobody's from Florida. I think there's 12 Floridians ever in history, right? We're all from somewhere. So we're really not South, because in my mind, I know what we are. We're south of South, because South really is Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi. We're just a mixture of whatever. But I do pick up a little bit of the y'all now and then. I don't know why I do. So I'll do the A and the y'all on the same stupid conversation. And I learned from another Megamind friend of ours, Michelle. She's from Louisville, which is kind of south, even though it's not that far south, really.
Right.
But I have learned the aw, yaw versus yaw. And so I sometimes interchange those two. But in case you ever want to be in the south and sound like you belong here.
Love it.
But
yeah, it's funny you say that. I have relatives who lived in Florida all my life, and I've known people from Florida all my life, and none of them have a Southern accent except for one person I met from Jacksonville. And he says he lived in Southern Alabama, and he's got a deep Southern accent, and he's from there. He's from Florida. He's the only person I ever met from Florida. Let's check in with a couple of people here. Brian Wagner says, if you redo it, you'll screw it up. Don't overthink it.
There Absolutely. It is. Right on, Brian. Right on. Brian, do you know Brian? He has a nice show every. I think he does it once or twice a week.
You did.
We were on. I was on with him a couple of days ago, and he does a great job. And Brian's got a great story. I mean,
I love his story. Excellent. I think it was. I've been immersed in reading up on him and checking out his stuff. I think friend requested him the other day on Facebook, so I'll be connecting with Brian for sure.
Yeah, first class dude, but he's the pizza man.
And there's Kenneth Mayberry. Yeah. Hello, Mike and Randy. Just starting to do videos on Facebook. I'm surprised that the number of views are higher than still photos. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Eric Bam, if you cut Randy open, he bleeds red Merlot and Cab. Well, that's good to know. I love that.
I do.
And last comment is from Kenneth again. Y'all is a part of me from the Appalachian Mountains.
That works.
Well, Randy, thanks for joining me today. This has been really a great discussion, and I think it's an important one. I'm just going to cap it again. You have to think differently, and the things I heard you say that I took away from this is that dreaded word, the new normal. It really is a different world, and it's not going to necessarily go back to normal. 2020, I've been seeing people say, I can't wait till 2020 is over, as if something is all of a sudden we're going to be back to normal in 2021. When COVID's not going to be over for probably another 6 months to a year, it's going to take a long time for that vaccine to get out there. And there's really, I don't know if there's any going back to it. So
right.
You have to adapt to this new way of thinking. And I love the fact that you said, you know what, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get in front of my people that expect me to be in front of them live, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to do it successfully. So I love that. The last question I have for you is I love bringing other guests on the show, and Eric suggested you come on the show. So I'm going to ask you if you know of anybody, and it can be sales professionals, it can be somebody who trains salespeople, authors, speakers, anybody that you suggest I bring on.
Sure. Well, I'm going to give you three, because I believe that you should give more than you get back. One would be the man that was just popped on, Brian Wagner would be an awesome guest for you. You'd love his energy. You'd love his story. And he's a sales guy at heart. The other one is, and I don't know, he's another one of my Megamind friends, Tim Lord. I don't know if Eric gave you Tim's name or not. I think you're Kellen and you connected, I believe.
We've got Kellen coming on. Yep, Kellen's coming on next week.
Tim would be an excellent one. The other one would be somebody that I don't know personally. I know him semi-personally, as in we was doing some back and forth on Messenger today, but I think I mentioned maybe in the aqua room or turquoise room or whatever room that was. Larry Levine, if it's Levine, I think it's Levine. He wrote the book Sell from the Heart. I've read that book. I've made notes. I'm reading again because we talked about you and I can tell you come from the same page I do, and that Eric does, and everybody is bring value, bring relationships, and like you said, sell from the heart, right? And very, very good author, and he's got a story, and it's a good story. So I think you'd appreciate him too. So any of those three people I'd highly recommend. So
awesome. Well, I'm going to email you and remind you to introduce me to all three. I would love to meet all three of them. And I thank you for being on again. I would just want to pop this up here that you can listen to the replays of this podcast and all the other podcasts at auditforit.com/elevatingit, or hit the iPhone podcast app, whatever, on Apple Store. We're on Apple. And we would certainly love a rating or review. And if you want to connect with Randy, you can go to ibuyfromrandy.com, or how do they reach you otherwise, Randy?
Well, they can always, they can go there. They can get me any way they want. They can find my cell phone there. They can find my email there. You can contact me through my website. I'll give you my cell phone, but nobody's going to probably write it down anyways. But if they go to ibuyfromrandy.com, that's all they really need to know, because that's all anybody in my industry needs to know, right?
Awesome. Well, thanks again for being on, Randy. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.
And have a great week.